Everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today Josh and I are going to be talking a little bit about the tricep group, which is pretty important in powerlifting. So I guess Josh, do you want to talk a little bit about what the tricep is and what it does?
Yep, so I guess the tricep is one of our major arm muscles. So we have biceps in the front and we have triceps in the back of our arm. Main role is to extend the elbow, so things like bench press, very important for bench pressing in particular, but also it actually extends our shoulder as well, so when we go when our arm goes behind our body. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about, I guess, why triceps important for powerlifters, not just a bench press. That's quite obvious, you know, as we're locking out the elbows, it's very obvious, but there's obviously other ways that we can train the triceps to help range of motion, such as getting underneath the bar for squatting and things like that as well.
Yeah. Sure. So I guess obviously in powerlifting we use our triceps a lot for bench pressing, and so we'll typically see the tricep being trained in its short and mid-range position. So think about coming to the bottom, of your bench and then using it to press. And then we'll usually see our tricep getting trained in its lengthy position when putting our arm above head and things like that. So I guess in terms of improving our bench press performance, we might want to train it in that short and mid-range position, and if we're looking to, improve our shoulder mobility, we might want to train the tricep in its lengthy position. Okay, so what we're going to do is go through a few different tricep exercises that you can do, to train it in three of those positions.
Yeah. What would you like? What are your two exercises that you normally go to?
Yeah, so I guess one thing for me is keeping my shoulder mobility is pretty important for me to feel good, and I guess bench as many times as I can per week. So I really like going overhead and training my tricep above head. That feels really, really good for me, and I find that my shoulder feels great being able to bench press 4 times a week. Do you have any exercises that you like to use to help improve your bench press performance?
Typically, like I said before, mid-range and short range, with the tricep is shorter, it's probably going to be more important. So, like a really good one is to, something like a tricep kickback. A tricep kickback, as the arms behind our body, one, training our shoulder extensors, so really getting our shoulder behind our elbow behind the body. Same sort of position as if you were in the bottom position of the bench. So if we can, train that tricep in that position, that's going to allow us to have better ranges and shoulder extension. Train it in that short position, and then the standard tricep extension that we do with like a rope or a V-bar or something works really well for mid-range.
Yeah,
similar sort of vein to what you do.
Yeah, I think recently what I've been finding a lot to help my bench press, and it's really challenging as well, is the windscreen wipers that we went over in our previous video.
That's a good one.
Yeah, shortens the tricep at the shoulder and shortens it at the elbow as well.
In thoracic extension as well.
In thoracic extension, so similar really position you'd be getting into for bench press. So I've been loving that recently. I think just going back on the shoulder as well, playing around with variations where the elbow is in front and above the body has been really good. This variation that I've been using with a client most recently, which is having a foam roller on the ground, basically putting the elbow on there, basically stabilizing the elbow in front and training the tricep in that position as well has been really good for getting a bit more external rotation, a bit more shoulder flexion in there.
It helps someone get their arm above their head as well. Like if someone has limited range above their head, like we mentioned in other previous videos, that humerus can't externally rotate very well, which is like a bit of an issue for me. So training the tricep when my shoulder is flexed, at least 90 degrees or a little bit further above the head works really well, and it gets me to sort of flex my shoulder. So at the moment, my range is pretty poor, right? So doing that is super important. So I guess shoulder in front would be better for range of motion. Performance-wise, maybe elbow down and elbow behind, would you say, roughly?
Yeah, I'd say that's a really good way to try to think about it. So I guess the outcome of this video, I guess we want to help you try and understand and make better decisions for yourself in your tricep training. What part of the shoulder are you missing range of motion? Are you trying to improve the performance of your bench press because you feel like your triceps are lacking, or your shoulder mobility has been really bad and you've been playing around with all stretching drills and things like that, and you haven't really taken into consideration with how you can train your arms differently in different positions to help improve that range.
So I guess to make this as simple as possible, what John's going to do here, we're going to do a tricep kickback. This is going to be, targeting the tricep more in that short position. So in the bottom position of the bench press, as the tricep has to work really hard, this is going to allow him to really target the medial and lateral head of the tricep here, keeping this elbow as high as he can while he extends the elbow. So this is, like I said, short position. John, do you want to go to a mid-range position now? So something like, we could do like a V-bar or a rope. Sweet. So the mid-range position here, John's elbows are sort of roughly around where his side of his ribs are, maybe slightly in front. That's completely okay as well. A little bit more spliced, I guess, to an externally rotated position of the humerus. But this is just like the standard sort of tricep extension, that mid-range that we were speaking about before. And then if John wants to make this more of a lengthened position for his tricep, all John has to really do is to spin around, and that tricep, his arm position has to be over his head now. So John's thinking about keeping his elbow as far forward as he can and getting a big stretch to that tricep. This is really targeting that lengthened position. Research does show a little bit more in terms of hypertrophy. To get a lengthened position is going to be a little bit better, but make sure you sort of train all three positions for your tricep training if you're a powerlifter. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I think the biggest thing that I was missing when I started training was just always training the tricep in the same position over and over again, and then wondering why it might be lacking at certain points in certain movements. Okay, so I guess changing the shoulder angle, okay, that you're at, and basically training the long, short, and mid-range position is really, really important. And then you can kind of, prioritize those positions if you find out that you are lacking in one of those places, and run a block where you're prioritizing mainly the shortened or the mid or the lengthened positions.
It's kind of fun as well. It's just like it's arm training as well. Like most powerlifters want bigger arms, right? So just training more arms in different positions is also it's fun.
Yeah, 100%. I think arm training is so underrated for like shoulder and elbow mobility. 100%. It goes a lot further because you can actually create adaptation from it, grow more muscle, and get stronger in various positions, ranges, rather than just like stretching or something, mobility, things like that, which is good acutely, but like long term, if you can imagine your bench press strength is improving over the course of the block, your mobility has to be stronger in theory, right? Okay, to keep up with those demands. So, yeah.
If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to send me or John a message on Instagram, or a comment below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Cool. Thanks.